Okay, I'm going to continue with what I was doing here. Oops, I got to shut that off. Oh, forgot to turn the lights on. Okay. Next, I wanted to just say that what I'm doing here is I'm editing the text that I found, and I'm pretty sure these are the first writer's formats that you'll find in the Hebrew side of the text in the Bible. I will explain real quickly here the 3-verse format that you're looking at. Maybe I should make that a little larger. Okay. The first verse is a statement, and I'm using 2 major words to complete the statement. The second verse and the third verse connect together like a sentence, and they define the statement. Or they help explain the statement. In this group, I call a smaller paragraph, but actually it is known as a psalm. And when they wrote in Psalms, they had another like group that together they make like a larger paragraph. Then I'll put a double space between them. The other format is a 4-verse format where there's 2 of these like sentences hooked together to make a paragraph. And then they will make a second one of those to become Psalms again. What I'm doing is, let's see, I'm putting the titles on here, removing this, and I'm trying to do some editing of the text right now. And since it does take a long time to do this, I haven't been putting up many videos. So what I decided to do is to stream my editing here, and then I guess also record that for history. That's what I'm doing here. But soon I will have the full text of the 24 books that I'm using from the Bible to have a complete story from our beginning to Jesus sending out the disciples and then ascending into heaven. Let's see here. So what I'll be doing mainly is mumbling to myself. But if you're new here, this is what I found. I think this is interesting for people to know, that when you actually study the text like I did and wanted to know what these boards were making, I realized what they made was the roof of his tent. And these are arches, not bars. By changing one word, I have more revealing of the truth. Now, what happens when I've studied it quite a lot, I have this Bible program that this is the New American Standard 1977, but in 1977 they made a concordance of this. For this text, and what they did was use Strong's words, but they spelled them differently to own the copyrights. So when I click on a word here, it shows me the Hebrew word, and down here, what's dangerous about this program, it tells me how many times they used that word for that Hebrew word. When you look over here at the word so, there is a Hebrew word for so, yet they used the word so 7 times. Some of this can be explained, but when you see the words like anyone, deadly, powder, storehouses, steward, reason, there's no way you can say that that should be truthfully done. And then when you see how bad it gets, that they use so many different words for one word, it's hard to accept what they've done. So in the end, all I can do is really trust the editing that I've done to get to these formats, and I have done every book that I've done. I've got, I think, over 500 videos up, and most of them are an hour and a half to 2 hours, 3 hours, a lot of them. So the thing here is this is all being recorded how I got here. You put them all in a PDF form, and then for history, everybody can go backwards to see what I did and go forward on the text. So right now I'm getting the final stages as to where I'm putting titles on there. And then hopefully start making maps and other things that need to go along with it. Now I've already done this for our creators hidden formats, but when I found that the revealing here of the text like this, there's more information. I was shocked to see how much information was coming up. And I can truthfully tell you that I didn't think I was going to do it this way, use the hidden format here, because our creators hidden formats, you need rules to follow to make them repeatable. It's kind of like having what do they call that, empirical evidence in mathematics, that you follow these rules of math and you can get to mathematics out to the 15th to 24th decimal. So but the text did not reveal as much as I'm pulling out doing it this way. And I realized after a while that I was finding their actual beginning text. It seems like I have to take a break. Forgot to hit the bathroom there. So what I need to do here is I will put up the 12 commandments over me for you to read them there. And then I'll be right back. Well, how do I shut off my microphone without blowing up here? All right, I made it back. I think people are a little shocked when they see the actual 12 commandments that you can find in Exodus 1 through 7, or 1 through 17. Um, and that's actually what happens when you actually study the text on a computer. You get to really do a lot more with it. Any comments in the comment section, I will answer because I don't get a lot of comments, but that's why I will answer everyone right now. Right now, I'm just going to be kind of reading and then explaining why some of these words need to be more edited, like this, where I will remove those words. I'm adding a word and I'm changing a word. I'm making notes as to what these will be aids to help people go back and forth, like for the promise I promised Abraham. You'll click on one of these. The beginning is going to be this one, the word's first one, and this is the second mention of it. And you'll be able to click on these and go back and forth in this, hopefully, PDF that will keep all these shortcuts and everything. And that way it'll help people reading the text. And a lot of times you'll see me just changing one word to a simpler word, and I'm doing that to make sure 12-year-olds can read the text and not turn to a secular dictionary. If you're a true obedient believer, you should be using the words that our Creator defined, such like his definition of the word man is, I created man, male and female. So you can't use the word man like the secular world and describe a man. Man means male and female together. A day is not night and day. A day is nighttime and daylight. So there's a lot of things that you'll probably have to change in your speech, but hopefully by doing this, you will become closer to our Creator. Let's see here. Then Jacob went into their land and he walked and saw. Okay, this is Jacob has been just sent by his mother Rebecca and Isaac, his father, to Shem's land. So to set this up as far as where this is going to take place, maybe better get this map here first. This is Shem's land from what I can figure out. Canaan's land here, and here is Japheth's. Now I'm going to probably adjust this map, but it's probably going to be more or less like this. But this is the earliest land. Noah landed here for this to happen. But what I'm going to do is zoom up in this area right here between Japheth's and Shem's. And because in the text, when I put a map out, Jacob is going to pass these rivers, okay? And that's how they had to use physical boundaries of what's on the land to define one's ownership of land. So the text is going to read, and then he passed the rivers, and this is because Laban is going to chase him, his father by law. So this is why I've decided to make Shem's land here and Canaan's here, because the text that's coming up. So Jacob has went into Shem's land, and as he went into their land, and I'm thinking that I should add the word as, and as he walked, and as he walked, he saw. And as he walked, he saw a well by a field, and saw 3 flocks of rams, and they were lying beside it, for the well had a cover on the opening of the well. Now, when it says that the lambs were laying on the ground, or the rams, animals eat and then drink, and then they rest. Resting, they'll lay down. You can go by some farms and you'll see that they'll have hopefully they'll have one tree out there for the animals to get shade of, but you'll see them laying in the shade. And that usually happens at when the sun is at high, or what will be known as noon is the high of the day. So this sets up the time that we can say that he was there at, and they're still waiting for the water. And water their rams. Now this would come down to how would it be said 3,000 years ago. Now they would remove the cover and the rams would drink. Now actually this cover is a well, and I believe what they've got to do is then have like a trough that they're going to fill up with water. So the thing here is they didn't have electric pumps back in those days. So somehow we got to figure out what kind of well that's being mentioned here. Remove the cover and put the cover back on the well. Jacob asked them, my brothers, comma, where are you from? And they said, we are Shem's. And do you know Laban, a son from Bethel, or Bethuel? And they said, we know him. And then said, he is well, and Rachel his daughter is coming with his rams. And he looked, see here it was, and he looked, and it was as it was noonday. Yeah, I've been changing high to noon. Now, with it saying it like this, it is the high of the day. It is the high of the daylight. That needs to be put here. The high of daylight. So what this means, I like it being said like this. I think the word new is too new for us. So if I got to go backwards in the text here. So, oops, that popped up over there. In noon, and I want to go up. Yeah, see, in the last video, I thought this was a good idea. Okay, now let's see, did I put it anywhere else in this text? Yes, let's go search net. By the high. Oh, that's why I did it to noon. Now I remember. Okay, I got to make them noon. I didn't want. I'm trying to use one word to mean. So if I refer to the word, the tree is very, or no, how would I say? That hill is higher than the other hill. I don't want it to be argued as. How do I get back here? I'm trying to make sure all words. Noon. Okay. At the noon of daylight. Now I gotta go down here and okay. It is noon. Okay, that's what I want. It is, whoops. It is the noon of daylight. And he said, look, it is the noon of daylight, and it is time for the livestock to be gathered for water, for the rams to drink, and then rest in the field. So, animals do these things. Example, I was able to live on a lake for several months of the year. We called it our cabin. Well, it was my grandfather's cabin, and I used to stay with them through the summer when I was little up there. So what I did is I learned the lake, and I knew this about animals. And then one day when I was in the city, one of my buddies asked me told me he never seen a live deer before, and he loved animals. So I says, you want me to show you a deer? And he said, yeah. And we drove 150 miles or something like that, 100 miles north, got in a boat, and I took him to one of the rivers that the water comes into our lake, or no, goes away from our lake. And we started going down that lake or that river, and there was a deer right in the middle of the water, or right in the middle of the river, drinking. And I taught him how to make like a noise of snorting through your nose. That I learned was like a mating call between the two animals, and she froze, didn't know what was going on. And before she jumped out of the water, he got splashed by her. That's how close he got. So this is for all animals. Do this just to let you people in the city know what's going on. And he said, look, it is the noon of daylight. It is not time for the livestock to be gathered for water. And this would be goats and rams, by the way. Actually, then this has to be readjusted then. Because what he's trying to say here, it is past noon and not time for the livestock to be gathered for water, for the rams to drink, and then they rest. Then they rest in the field. Okay, so it is past. Let me how to do this. I'm adding a word, so I do it this way. And he said, look, it is past the noon. So actually I don't need this word, and this word now needs to be made like that. It is past the noon. And not the time yeah, maybe I got to get rid of the word not. Let me see here. It is past the noon and the time for the livestock to gather for water, for the rams to drink, and then they rest in the field. Well, I explained this, and I realized that I didn't have this in my mind when I was reading, too much in my little mind. And he said, look, it is past the noon, and the time for this has to be 4, for the time for the livestock to be gathered or to be gathered for their water. I guess that's what I'm trying to put in. And he said, look, it is past the noon, for the time for the livestock to be gathered for their water, for the rams drink, or rams drink, and then they rest in the field. Bingo. Now that's as truthful as I can make that. All right. every little word I'm trying to make as perfect as everything else you see in the world, or in the heavens. Gathered for their water, for the rams to drink, and then they rest in the field. But they said, we cannot until everyone's flocks gathered. Then we remove the cover from the well and bring up water for the rams. While he was speaking, Rachel came with her father's sheep, rams. A little noise I get. My squirrels attacking their food here. I make them jump up like four feet. I kind of got to grab the windowsill and then turn and flip up on the board I've got here, so it gets noisy sometimes. Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, uh, Laban, okay, and removed the cover to open the well, and he brought up water for Laban's rams, his mother's brother. Missed a period. And Jacob told Rachel he was her relative by her father's sister, and he was Rebekah's son. Then she ran and told her father. When Laban heard the news of his sister's son, he ran to meet him. Then he embraced him and brought him to his tents. Now, you got to understand why I'm using the word tents. Males and females had their own separate tents, and father and mother would have separate tents until their son or daughter was old enough. They would then have tents for each of them, and then relatives visiting, they would have tents for the relatives. So when you think of the time back then, and a lot of this was like open farm areas, the way they had their land, and it was to visit back and forth instead of watching television and playing games. They would get together when there was downtime from harvesting or working the fields to visit each other. And the more wealthier ones they would come to because they'd have all these things available to them. So 3,000 years ago, there's a lot in the text that I've learned over time by doing this. Different squirrel. I've got another new squirrel. I got two, now I've got a third one. I recognize their difference of their tails. So, and Laban said to Jacob, because you are my relative, if you work for me, you should not serve me for nothing. What will your wages be? Laban had daughters, the older Leah and the younger Rachel. Raquel. Wait a second. Raquel. And Jacob wanted Raquel for his wife, so he told him, I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Raquel. Then Laban said, it is better I give her to you then give her to another. Now, this is the trickery of the words that Jacob was not listening to, okay, when he said this, I will give her to you. Not that he's going to say, yes, you can marry her, but he's going to have, Jacob's going to be thinking his wife, when he goes into the tent to marry with her, become husband and wife. It's not Raquel here. So, and Jacob served 7 years for Raquel to be his wife. And all this time, they didn't say what was going to happen to him. So the days seemed to him but a few days because of his love for her. After 7, Jacob said to him, give me my wife. So Laban, with all his family, gathered for a dinner. That evening he took his daughter Leah and gave her to Jacob. So it came about in the morning it was Leah, and he said to Usually I tie these words firstborn together with a hyphen. This is one of the rare occasions I needed to divide it. And right now I'm trying to think of, is there a different way I can say this? I think it's to be better said this way. Her, you must stay a week with her for Raquel, and I will give you Raquel. And also for Raquel, you will serve me another 7 years. And Jacob did so and stayed with her a week. That would be a new word, and that's not their day. So stayed with her 7, for Raquel to be his wife. He loved Raquel and worked for Laban 7 years. Wybie saw Leah was unloved, and he opened her womb for Leah conceived and birthed a son and named him Judah. Now, in the text, these have all been reordered correctly. And I've tried to explain that to people that the text has been so corrupt, but what they could not corrupt is the way they lived on the land. And the thing about this is that when our Creator told them to camp around his tent for meeting with him in the Sinai, they were to camp by birth order. The three oldest were in the south. So you can see there's three here. And the three in the north would be the youngest. So I believe it's these three here are the next. And then it's these three here are the next. Although we know that this is representing Levites would be here. So it's probably this would have been Levites. Yeah, these two would have been Levites. So, but they divided in one. But the thing here is it would have been like this. And now if you realize this is probably the best representation of saying that it would be those of the on the east side or on the west side camped as the next generation or the next oldest, and then these three because they've got this family lineage on the east side. Okay, so this is how I ordered the birth orders because the people that are editing the text don't really care for the absolute truth. Me, I'm obsessed with telling you the truth. So I've also got aids here to help when you read it or go back to the text. So how would I do this? I want to be able to come back here for a reference. So it's time for me to place I will put it up here. That'll be the birth order. I mean, my mind can't keep all this in track, so I have to make my edits for the next one is 4 here. Okay. She conceived and birthed a son, and he named him Judah. She conceived again and birthed a son named Simon. Yeah, these are all okay. I can get rid of this time. Unless they're a chapter, I'm removing them. So they'll be able to go back and forth by searching this number. I've got this number in the other text. Rachel saw Leah birthing Jacob's sons. So she said to Jacob, "Give me sons, or I will die." Jacob was angry, and he said, "Am I wivey? For he has withheld sons from you." Then she conceived and birthed a son, and they named him Levi. She conceived again and birthed a son, and named him Benjamin. If you notice, this is really, they got Benjamin and then Joseph as the last two, but you can see what I explained is the people would recognize the big difference here for any of you that really study the text. Yeah, these just seem to be all the same words just being repeated, so I don't need to go through them. I couldn't put the word because. No, let's see. Laban said to him, because it's on the count. It's more or less because. Okay. This is not a question. So you can see I've changed the text from last time. You will not give me anything, for I will do this. I will herd your rams. But first let me pick out from your entire flock and remove every speckled and spotted from among your rams and among the goats. So Asti will answer for me when you come concerning my wages. Now everyone will Now everyone will be for me that is speckled and spotted from these flocks. And Laban answered, Let it be according to your word. And he removed them that day, the striped and spotted rams and goats, and gave them to his sons. Then he put a day's journey between him and Laban. Jacob took branches of poplar and almond trees and peeled stripes in them, exposing the lighter within the branches. So I peeled strips off of trees. You had nothing to do when you were a kid, or I didn't have much to do as a kid, but I had to cut a lot of wood, so we had many different kinds of trees on our property, or Grandpa did. Uh, I know some trees were easier to peel stripes on them, or just grab it and peel it. So I'm just trying to think as I don't know about an almond tree, but I know a poplar tree. That's pretty tough stuff. Anyways, I'm going to put there. It's the animal's watering trough. And there, that you learn what happens after they drink and then they lay down. So to add this, because I want this as a group of text. I tried to explain why I'm doing it this way is because yeah, this is all one group here. Because Microsoft doesn't expect anybody to actually do what I've done and need 90 or more than 90 chapters. So I learned that even though if I made them, I put them in and I clicked on it, it didn't pull them all up. So there was a limit. I want to get around that. I don't know if they've fixed it or not, but I can't take that chance. So I'm trying to put this all as a subjects now for chapters. I guess to shorten it down, I could do named Israel. Now you can see why it took me hours to do what I've been doing and haven't been making videos. It just takes a long time to do these because I'm trying to do my best here. This is, when I get done with this text, I'm hopefully going to post it. And that's because I'll have, hopefully within a month and a half, month and a half, I should be done. And then making the new maps and placing them. I've got a list of things that I want to add into the text. I'm noting when it's promised land, it's a promise that our Creator promised them something, of what prophecy of Jesus, and I've done prophecy, and some prophecies that include Jesus would be read, maps, images, timelines of kings, laws and statutes, and commandments. So as you can see, don't have statutes, or right now there's laws, but they aren't truly laws given by Moses for Aaron to write down. So that's the order. It's going to be statutes are most important, then it's going to be commandments, commandments, and then laws, and then guidances. But these all have to be placed into the text. Am I being able to be, I might be sounding like a, and if I lean back too far, I sound like I'm in a hall. So let me see if I get rid of my connection here. Will the mic come back here with me? It looks like it. Aim it more for coming out the side of my mouth. If I, yeah, okay. I just had to check the mic volume. Jacob heard the words for heard. Jacob heard the words from his sons, saying, Jacob is taking away what is ours and our fathers, and they are making him rich. So somehow all of a sudden I noticed that the whole herd was birthing the striped and spotted goats and rams. When Jacob, I think I need to change this to when Jacob knew their thoughts, and his sons were not friendly to him, then why he commanded Jacob, return to your father. Then he said, your name will no longer be Jacob, it will now be Israel. Your descendants will multiply, and your descendants will multiply. Then my nation will come from them, and kings shall come from you. In the land I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I will give it to you and your descendants. Now, when I'm putting this in, it has to go it's going all the way back to Abraham's time. In Genesis 17:6, it's talking about, I will make this is Abram being changed to Abraham, and our Creator is going to establish his everlasting promises. And so this here is, I'm going to make nations from you, and kings shall come forth from you. But later we learn here in this verse, these are kingdoms in the earth will be blessed. Really, this is all the races on earth will be blessed. And we know the ending of this story here, so we know it's Jesus. So I'm putting that read into the text, even though they didn't understand it at that time. I want to make sure that we trace our Creator's words that he had for them throughout the text. So this is his promise to Jacob, or now Israel. And why did he change his name? Most likely because he liked the word Israel to be named his nation. So let's see here. How do I note this? Oh, wait, I don't need to. I have other plans with text like this. I'm going to put it all together so people can read it and see his promises to throughout the years. I'm going to, because this is a major word I use sometimes. So if I do this and then say this, so what this means is they were riding bareback, okay? Just to let you know, they didn't have saddles at this time. Just to let you know what the text is saying here. So he just couldn't put them there. Although then Israel sat, his sons and his wives upon donkeys, and sacks with his property which he had gathered. Then he drove his livestock. Yeah, it has to be the word drove. And it wasn't just him. They drove his livestock. Okay, this is where he passed the rivers to show this is the dividing line that they had in the text. Okay, just to let you know where I got that. The Republic of Russia. Best viewers on. How you doing? I'm sorry I didn't see you post until then. I've been concentrating, but you're coming from Twitch. So yeah, Twitch. And he passed the rivers. He led the flocks into a hill country. And it was told to Laban on the second day Jacob had fled. So he gathered his sons. Now, this is a description of the path that he would have taken. So that is unique when you see the wording in the text to when I make a map of showing where he traveled to and from is kind of, well, let me show you here again. These are the rivers that he passed. So somewhere he finally went through here and he's in these hills, not here. So Jacob is coming here to these hills. And then, like I said, down here, moving where Abraham lives is going to be I think over in here, now under this text, it's simpler to say that here is where he would be at. Because he's going to separate lots. Animals needed to be separated, so I believe Lot's wanted this area here, and Abram will be here. So he's going to travel like this to get to there. That makes sense. Because I haven't really determined where Laban is at. If Laban was over in this area, it makes sense that he would be here, heading to here to make it easier to get down to here. Why I used this right now in my last making of the maps, it's because these two are different territories for dividing up the tribes. And I'm thinking I use this as the dividing line because I made the maps after the text had been finished, so it seems that I might have to because this main road going down all the way through Israel is really one of the most ancient roads in Europe or Middle East, whatever we want to call it today. If I put evening here, this conversation can't happen. Is the way I put the word morning here. Okay, that would be the end of this chapter that I've been labeling, because that's the end of the story of Laban, and he's now, okay, so this is going to be like this. Well, I guess I need that there to make it read this way. See, this is the barrier or the map. Uh, I don't know how I'm going to note them yet, as to sometimes the text is telling me when they had or where they had divided the land up. So when you see what this word is saying, he passed the rivers. Now you can see why I had made this map this way here. Okay. And if that was true, then these would have been the next rivers. And I'm thinking that the new one I'm going to do is use this ridge line here as the dividing line, probably like that to here, here to here, and then this ridge line will be that. So this will go differently, just to let you know how I'm making these maps. There is text to go by. These would be, our creator told him, so I think this, because I got the word live here. Okay. Going to take a quick break here. So again, I'm going to put up the 12 commandments. Forgot where the chapters start and begin, so I don't need this here this time. It looks like I'm going to make a whole chapter on Esau here. Now, as far as him moving, it'll be from a newer location, but he's going to have to go this way to get to here. The only reason why I'm saying that is these are mounts, but these rivers, these valleys are pretty tight. It would be easier to travel this way and cross only one river than to cross many rivers and go up and down these valleys. So this is the path I've decided that he's going to go to Edom down here and create Edom as a kingdom, or as a kingdom. Oh, I had a note on this. He must have daughters. And I believe his other daughters would have married these guys here. Now, the problem with this is there's supposed to be 12 names here, and I don't have 12. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're both to have 12 sons, I think. Okay, how am I going to do this? It's going to take a while. I got to. Yes, if I do. Didn't find it that way. Yeah, right here is where I was at. I'm just trying to think of how can I. Because they were not to take the descendants from Canaan as their wives. And we don't really have where Israel got his sons' wives. Thinking this might be out now, that I'm overthinking the situation here. I wonder how come I didn't get that to show up at, 10. Maybe I should have searched it that way. Okay, now this would start another chapter of groups. Okay. But still, you need the word last. You need the word because. Because he was his last. And he made his son. I'm taking it out of here and moving it to here, and that's how I note this. And I've changed and added that. I don't know if the word colored is the way that from different hides is the thing here, and they would be different colors. They would have been from rams, or not from rams and goats. That would have been had black stripes in both of them. They would have had maybe a deer hide. Yeah, I think I'm going to change the word colored to deer hide. I guess would be a good time to stick an image in here. Now, how does the sun and moon bow? Folded in half? Kind of like that. Now, wait a second. I got to see what I did. I said, okay, it's going to be up to where he sold. I would like to put each other, but it's not good enough here. It sounds cruel, but it's all designed by our Creator. But it also lets you know that they didn't really like the kid. So trying to decide whether I should change the amount because there's 11 sons. And 11, how do oops, got to turn that on. Maybe the battery's dead. Looking for a calculator. As the sellers passed by, they reached down and lifted him from the pit, and they sold him. I still need traveling. For 11, it would be 2 pieces silver. That would be 22 pieces. If it's 3, it's 33. You can't divide 20 silver evenly. But Levi's not with them, so there is only 10 of them. Levi would not accepted money because he didn't agree with them. So I guess 220 would be the right number. But I've got now, so there's only 6 of them. So 6 divided by 20 is not good. So it was Raquel's or Leah's sons. See, if there were 6 of them and they got 12, then it would be 10 and 2 of silver. But if there was, it doesn't divide evenly. I've got the text where there's 6 of them. And you can't just have your brothers showing up without their herds. But maybe they divide their herds by rams and goats. And that would make it sense. No, thank you. Um, Now, how do you hear this? When Leah saw him, How did he heard? He probably left his herd with his other brothers, and then he's going to meet up to figure out what they're going to do. That's the only way I can see that that's happening. Shed no blood. Oh. This is just by the word kill. remove his wife. Needs the adjustment there as well. That isn't making sense. Now I'm back to figuring out the money here. That there is no 11 of them. Now, when he returned, he must have had to go to the bathroom. So he had to run off. Because how did he then return with his brother? But I have it that he returned with his brothers. Joseph was not in the pit. When Levi returned from the woods, uh, so there's not 22 of them anymore. There's not 11 of them, there's 10 of them. Now it makes sense that this was okay. That wears out. This word is out. I'm going to use this as just a regular colored word. I was using the gray as the second word in there. Now I'm going to use brothers. So he went to his brothers and said, "Where is he?" Joseph is not in the pit. Adding all this. So he saw his hide coat, and they had killed a goat, and he saw his hide coat, and they and 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 a killed goat. that they had put its blood on it. But he saw his hide coat and a killed goat that they had put its blood on it. Its blood on it. Boy, that changed quickly. There's probably text missing here, but let me see this, what it's going to look like cleaned up. Then Levi returned from the forest, and Joseph was not in the pit. So he went to his brothers and said, "Where is he?" For Joseph was not in the pit. But he saw his hide coat and a killed goat that they had put its blood on it. I got to add the word "and." Okay, that's a keeper. I guess this needs to start a new chapter because this is all going to be text about Joseph. So in Egypt. So that's a good place to break it. Forget. For he gained more. He was. Meaning he swapped him out, is the way I'm seeing it. That he decided to make him a seller. As seller for his master. No. I think that's the way it should be. Then Joseph again was favored to be his chief servant, for he made him his overseer to be over all he owned, and he was in charge of his servants. I had to use the word all to get to this. I think that's good. I gotta change the word house to owns. I would like to keep that word, but I think I will. Okay, let me see. I'm getting really hungry here. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break right here because I know the story's long. But I will be back later. I've got some running around to do, but I will be back. So stick around or stop by again. Thanks for watching.